Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this very cold afternoon in Durban. I know Joburg people always feel that if you say it's cold in Durban, it's unlikely that cold. Please forgive my nails, they're wilding. I need to do my nails and hair this weekend, but I think I'll do my hair next week because I'm going hiking next week, so I'm likely to go under the waterfall. Anyways, be that as it may, igama ngu Asanda Wakantini, and welcome back to my channel. And if you are new here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I want to speak about, basically this is a heart to heart. I've not prepared much for this video. I just want to speak on being, or the feeling of being an imposter, called imposter syndrome, if that's the correct term, and also speak on the importance of celebrating your wins. And yeah, let's get into it. Right, so let's start with celebrating your wins. Now, one needs to acknowledge that the mark in adulting keeps getting higher and higher. It keeps getting moved up higher and higher. Reason why I'm bringing this up is last week, I had this conversation with my sister. She was here in Durban and she was like, so what are your plans like with future growth and whatnot in terms of like development? So are you going to be doing, she didn't ask, are you going to be doing this and this, but we were just speaking and I was like, I just want to get through this year. I just want to get through this year. I just want to get my feet into finally being back in practice. When I finished my, when I got admitted, because I finished articles in 2022, but only got admitted in 2023 because I was still working on boards. And yeah, so there was a year long where after finishing my articles, I was studying for boards, particularly accounting. Accounting really tried to knock me out, eh? And so during that time, I was doing that, and after finishing my boards, and after admission, like immediately when I got my results, I remember I got them in October. I think in November I started looking for notes and resources to study and prepare for notary, while preparing my papers for obviously court to move the application for admission the following year, which it was moved in February 24. Was it February 24? When did I get admitted? Yeah, but I think it was 24 February. When I did that, it was like, now after being admitted as an attorney, what's next? And I realized that I then did not take a moment to fully say, you finally passed your accounting. You finally got a date for admission. You finally got all of your certificates. You are really becoming an attorney. Simply because we always look for the next big thing or the next thing without acknowledging, Guti, at some point, I don't know if I've shared this story, but at some point in grade 12, when I got my first offer to university, conditional offer, it was for a law degree in University of Zululand. the conditional offer that you get. And when I was getting it signed, because at that time, when you get that, for a CAO requires you to have the school principal or somebody in school sign that. And my principal was signing, said, "You going to be an attorney?" Like, an attorney said, "You, a lawyer." That's what he said. And I was like, yeah, I got the offer. Not sure if I'm going to do it. After he said, "You, a lawyer," my next reaction was to question if actually I'm going to be a lawyer. To an extent that I actually ended up not going to UniZulu, and I ended up in first year doing Bachelor of Social Science because I only applied for law in one university. I've shared the reason for that. If you're looking for the reason for that, there is a video about it here on my channel. It's to do with Abafan. Anyways, so yeah, fast forward to first year of varsity doing legal studies. Our very first assignment was to write a paper. I know it was basically understanding when a point can be raised in Maramuto. The Maramuto case, if you know it, you know it. I think we were analyzing that case, and I can't remember which other case. But our tutor came back with our papers. It was a tutorial. And it was to write a short essay on your understanding of that case without giving us what is expected in writing, in legal writing. It was the very first thing. They were just testing how we write. And then after that, we were told this is how you actually write in law. You do an IRAC or a FIRAC, whichever one that would have thingy. But his response, I always give him grace because he was young, said, "You wrote, but I don't think your writing is fit for a lawyer. So if you're going to continue writing like this, I don't see you making it in the law field or in the LLB degree." He spoke of that, and was not doing LLB at that time. By the way, I was still doing Bachelor of Social Science. I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm not really interested in that." Lying. Then in May, I obviously applied to change my degree to law, and fast forward 5 years later, I graduated, and fast forward now, how many years later? That was 2015, now it's 2024. 9 years later, I'm a fully admitted attorney. I've done articles for 2 years, admitted, have post-articles experience, and almost every day, I genuinely just write essays that one person said, you can't write, or you can't write in the legal field. And that, when I started articles, luckily I had when it comes to teaching, my principal was really good at correcting if you are wrong, but correcting in a teaching way. And obviously you have to be teachable. And one thing that I always say about myself, I'm very teachable. Like, if you're teaching me something new, I'm going to learn it. That's why by third year varsity, every time we had an essay, I always excelled in it because I wanted to learn how to write because somebody said I couldn't. I'm that person. If you say I can't do something, most of the time, even if you don't see me, I'm going to prove you wrong and show you that I actually can do this thing. And so back to this, I needed today, I was listening to that Sarah Jakes podcast with Mel Robbins, whatever her surname is, but Mel. She was speaking of going back to that young girl who was wounded at some point and acknowledging that, baby girl, you actually are no longer that person. And my imposter syndrome issues were firstly, whenever I do something wrong, or whenever I mess up in a matter, or if I just don't do, whenever I fall short, I always go back to it. There has always been that thing in my head that, Konje, I don't want to say his name. because I don't want to give him that much power. My former principal said you're not supposed, you can't be a lawyer. Like the long and the short of it was like, you can't be a lawyer. And my tutor also said the same thing. And then after that, it was very difficult to get admitted. So I always say, maybe you're not supposed I used to say, maybe you're not supposed to do this thing. But now I've learned to actually go back to this young girl that couldn't get those things and say, sis, you are a lawyer. You are a lawyer and you're very much worthy of being a lawyer. You did it. You got the t-shirt. Wear it. You deserve it. Wear the medal. It's yours. And all that happened before doesn't really matter. All that noise that was before, you need to get over it, or you need to move from it, simply because you are worthy of being the attorney that you are. You are worthy. That little girl needs to feel better because they are worthy and better of that. Anyways, to say that if you are feeling like imposter syndrome issues, most of the time, I'm not a psychologist, I should put it out there, but I've learned that most of the times, the things that make you feel like an imposter could be, maybe you once had somebody say you can't do certain things and you've carried that with you. Maybe once you've done that thing, or once you continue to do that thing, because usually you'd feel like an imposter if you are actually doing the thing that somebody once said you can't do. Go back to that person, go back to that person of you, like that young person that was told that they can't be that thing, and just tell her that, baby girl, you've done it. You can, and you've done it. And trust me, it does help. And you need to do it a couple of times. I still need to do it. I still need to remind myself, and it feels good. And on issue of moving the mark and now celebrating where you are, as I started, it's very important to just acknowledge, you could see how far you've come. As I've said, like, I didn't take time to acknowledge, you could say, I'm now an attorney. Instead, I started going for further things. And when I finally decided, hey, I can't write these exams, I'm tired, I then started feeling like I didn't do enough. I started forgetting, but sis, you are the same girl who's just finished her articles. You are the same girl that just became admitted. So once you forget to celebrate your wins, you actually leave yourself in a situation, you're going to say, hey, what, you now forget and put yourself in a situation, you're going to say, you just keep running after the next thing, and that's not cool. That's also just not giving glory to God, because everything that you have is not through our strength. Everything that you do, you need to honor and acknowledge how far you've come, and also acknowledge that you are living in an answered prayer. Embrace it. Yes, there's more. The mark keeps getting higher and higher. Trust me, today, if you are expected to do, let's say you are a candidate attorney, today you're expected to do one pleading. Probably in the next 3 months, the expectation will be, you're supposed to know how to do at least 3 pleadings a day. That's normal, but if you don't acknowledge today that you were able to do and finalize one pleading, you are likely to not acknowledge, you will see how far God has taken you, and also acknowledge how resilient you are. Celebrate that, give God glory, and celebrate the fact that you are actually living in answered prayers. And always remember that None of these things are our strengths. I have a Bible verse here, Philippians 4 verse 13, says that I can do all things through him who gives me strength. The moment you don't acknowledge your win, I feel like you're not acknowledging the strength that God has put in you. And in Ephesians 2, verse 10 says that for we are all God's handymen, created in Christ to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. All of the things that you are doing are likely to be things that are prepared in advance for God, and you're going to go through them, but you must acknowledge, Uguti, you are here because of God. Once you acknowledge that, even the feelings of being an imposter that you might feel, just remember that you are here because this is prepared in God. This is prepared rather by God, and it's God's work. It's all of his work. Like the moment you feel like, okay, maybe I can't do this myself, maybe take the attention away from you. That's another thing to help yourself with imposter syndrome, to say maybe, okay, because I feel unworthy, because there are certain situations where you just feel unworthy, but just say, this is God's work. This is prepared by God, and this is not me. If you feel that, to say that it's just you, or to say that you are worthy of that at that particular time feels too much for you, maybe just start with acknowledging God. God is you and you are in God. So when you do that, you're still putting in the highlight on yourself. And then finally, 1 Corinthians 15 verse 10, but by grace of God, I am what I am. And it is his grace. And his grace to me was not without effect. That's the final thing I want to leave you with. Let me read it again. But by the grace of God, I am what I am. His grace was to me. His grace to me was not without effect. And when this feeling creeps in, don't give it success. Again, as I've said, maybe take away the attention from you and say, it is by grace of God. It is by grace of God. Whenever I used to walk into criminal court, because sometimes, especially regional court, when I felt like the matter is just heavy on me, I'd just say, by grace of God, this is me. That's why I used to come very early in court, by the way. I'd just embed the presence of God in me in the court and that day. And yeah, I hope this video was cute and helpful to some of you if you're having this feeling. This is basically a pep talk to myself. I love you lots, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.